Saurabh, did you put a reminder in the group?
Yeah. I'll again put it.
Okay, welcome all of you. We'll wait for a few more minutes to see if there's somebody else joining. We have Deepthi here who will be supporting all of you today. So let's wait for some time. 2-3 minutes we'll give.
Hi, everyone.
Good evening. Good evening. We'll wait for a few minutes to see if there are more people joining, and then we'll get started. Okay, so in the meanwhile, if you could put in the chat where you are in the course, I hope you all have completed. Can you all put where you are in that in the NetAcad platform? Okay, good, Anil, almost completed. Okay, others? Completed, okay, nice. Anyone of you completed 3 chapters? Oh, nice. Okay. Anyone of you from cybersecurity background? Okay, yeah, Manish, good. Okay, Akhil. Yeah, sure, Shanyas. We will be sending, we can send the recording. Saurabh, Harshit, did we send it to all, the recording?
Yeah, we can send, but it is subjected to Anjana's consent.
No, that's fine. So let's see, Shanyas, will you, are you part of the WhatsApp group? If yes, please drop a note to Saurabh or Anjana, they will share it with you. Okay. So, folks, I mean, if you had the background of cybersecurity, how did you find the course? Would it give a good overview to people who don't have it? Okay, I think we can get started, right? We are 5 minutes into the thing. Okay. Hey, thank you. Thank you so much for joining in. See, the reason we are having this particular call today is to help you prepare for the nasscom and Ministry of Electronics and IT assessment for this particular course. So the reason why we're having this session is because it is a okay, difficulty level is good. Okay, so the actual assessment, the level of questions will be even higher. So we want to give you a flavor of what to look for and what to refresh before you attempt the final test. So Deepthi here has been working on this field for how many years, Deepthi?
More than a decade.
More than a decade. And what we requested Deepthi is to go through the course, understand what is covered, and then take the assessment so that she has an idea about what is the depth in which the questions are coming. And she'll be able to tell us, see, every assessment, there will be a basic rubrics on which the assessment is conducted, right? So there are some areas which are more important than the other areas which are also equally important. So, so we will try and tell you which all topics to refresh, and if there is any extra reading required. So that's what this session is going to be. So one best practice which we have heard from others in different courses is that when you're doing the refreshers, just make note of the key points so that it helps you just to, consider it like a really important test that you would have given in your college or for any other assessment, and then prepare well, then it is fine. Yeah, so Deepthi is gold, scored gold in the assessment. So we'll take her help to get a view of what is to be, what is there in the course and where to focus on. Study material for the assessment. Amrit, I hope you have taken the course. I've given exam and failed once. I've paid again. Okay, Manish, that's sad to hear. So you can also give us more inputs on where you found the questions were difficult. Yeah, sure. So Deepthi, let's get started. Saurabh, if you could just chat with Amrit and tell what is the detail. Sure, over to you, Deepthi.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Smita. So I know when we attended the whoever has attended and found difficult, probably once we complete the study material, the 5 chapters, I'll go with that first. What we have to do is when we review, we have to compare. So what I've done is after reviewing all 5 chapters, what is that they have given? Because of course this is for beginners to, and also it is not, it didn't take us to in-depth questions or topics, whatever topics given in all 5 modules, or a basic level understanding. So it gives you what is cybersecurity and what are the various topics are covered. So it may not take you to in-depth, certain topics are very high level, like definition they would have given. But wherein for assessment, it may expect you to go through those topics. Once you understand the material given in the nasscom and Cisco, then you can search, take those topics and search in depth, you can understand. So what I've done is, I've compared all 5 chapters. People who have completed I saw many of you have completed the study material given by Cisco. So you can just jot it down. I have done that since, I just want to understand what is the material is given, and I've compared what type of questions are given in the NASCOM exam so that we can correlate. First chapter is basically about the cybersecurity introduction. So you may not have much questions on that because it's for, since this is for beginners, it will help you what is the cybersecurity all about, and what are the okay, okay, sorry, I jumped to the topic directly. So to give you a brief introduction, I'm Deepthi Uchuru. I'm working in a private bank, cybersecurity department. For beginners, cybersecurity is a one topic, but if you go in depth, cybersecurity is a very vast topic and various departments. I'm currently working in a risk assessment department. Earlier, I was part of I started my career in identity and access management. So you people who have attended this training session earlier, you would have attended MFA, access control, passphrase, password control. So identity access management department deals that any access related. So I started my career almost 6 to 7 years in identity and access management under cybersecurity. Later, I switched to risk assessment, completely risk assessment and the controls, what controls. I'll talk about how whatever topic that I'm, department I'm working, how it relates to those 5, chapters that you have gone through. Um, that's the gist of my background. And all from my studies, I'm not part of cybersecurity. I came from physics and then HR. So when I took this job, that time we didn't have a dedicated courses in cybersecurity. Even if we need to take it, it was very expensive, and only international level exams were there. So when I got to know about this course and exam from Sangeeta, I was really happy, because nasscom is providing you complete module study materials free, and also the exam also will give you certification, using which you can explore for jobs. But I didn't get that opportunity when I was wanted to move to cybersecurity. I spent a lot of money, and even material now it is available in Google. In the past, everything you have to subscribe, because cybersecurity is something was a very new topic at that time. Now you can check, Wikipedia and various websites. You will get all the materials. So that's a gist of my background. So that considering time, I just wanted to switch to the study material. Thank you. Okay, study material. There are 5 chapters, right? As I mentioned, this the course that designed is for considering the just to give a background of cybersecurity. So first topic chapter is everything about why we need a cybersecurity, and they talks about the 3 pillars. We call it triad: confidentiality, integrity, availability. So you will understand. Just go through what is all 3, because all next chapters, everything you study, either you study attacks, various attacks, or cyber solutions like a firewall or anti-malware, everything safeguarding these 3 areas: confidential of your how confidential data is, and second, whether your data is available or not for you or for your customers, or whether your data is tampered or not. All 3 are major, I would say, mantra for entire cybersecurity. Okay, so first chapter is all about it. So you had just for understanding only that is there. But later, second, I would say for my experience on attending this exam, chapter 2, 3, 4, you have to go through thoroughly, because your chapter 2 is about attacks, various attacks, defects, vulnerabilities, and cybersecurity. It's purely about the effect. So you have to understand which area it is impacting when you study. Then you have to, what they have material is given you all the details, but I would suggest take the data and refer it, like put a points, what is this like they mentioned buffer workflow, overflow and access control issue. So take down all those defects on left side of your page. I'll tell you why I'm talking about. Third chapter, fourth chapter talks about solutions. So whatever chapter 2 talked about your problem, cybersecurity problem, it is all the solution that can you apply talks about chapter 3 and chapter 4. That's the correlation. So you have to compare it. You cannot study separately. Today you're studying chapter 2. I would suggest don't skip chapter 4. First, you sequence basis, study chapter 2, write down all the defects, issue, vulnerabilities, and I think if people have attended previous training session, they would have covered in depth. But so I will not go in depth about it. But what I would suggest is for exam to clear, compare all 3 defects with what is the solution given in the chapter 3 and 4, so that you will have idea, because most of the questions that I saw, it talks about solutions. So this is the problem you're facing, then what is the solution that you can choose best among, which means you have to compare. First you need to understand what is the issue. Exam brute force attack, it's one of the cyber attacks or issue, I would say. So it talks about access control is compromising. Then chapter 3 talks about MFA, passphrase. So you compare it, don't study separately. So what for this vulnerability or attack, what solution is given in chapter 3. And also I'll tell you what is the difference between chapter 3, 4. Chapter 3, some of the solutions are given in chapter 4 also. Okay. But chapter 3 is restricting to individual. So as a fellow person, like individual, not as an employee, but what are the cyber security measure you take? How to safeguard your password when you're at home, how to safeguard your Wi-Fi. It talks about only purely individual perspective. But chapter 4 is what important for you when you go to organization, because when we are expecting this cybersecurity certificate for getting any job or to switch to any into from a different background. If you're part of finance, or if you're part of HR, or if you're part of physics, you want to switch to cybersecurity, then chapter 4 is very important for you, because that talks about organization level controls. In an organization, what level of controls you apply for this issue. Control in the sense solution. Firewall is one solution, but in a cybersecurity term, we call it as a control. Okay, and chapter 3 is called, we call risk or issues. So the bit of a terminology, just stop me or post your message in case you find any questions, or you have doubts on whatever I have explained so far. Okay, any questions so far which I have explained?
You can also raise your hand and we can allow you to talk.
Yeah, because mainly I just wanted to help. I also came from non cybersecurity background, so when we compared, this is a new topic, and but it is a very easy subject, because if you have understand where the exact issue is all about, then the solutions. They have given you all the type of solutions. You just need to choose, okay, for this issue this solution is required. That's the only thing you need to understand. So that's in that angle, I would say cybersecurity is a very easy subject, and also very hot. You have a lot of opportunities in current environment, because everywhere you use everything is digital now. Wherever people are using digital, obviously there will be a security required. So which means our jobs are guaranteed at least for, I would say, next 100 years. So, but you need a certifications, because when you go for interviews, at least a basic level, junior level, when you join, they expect a certifications, so that when they filter in Naukri or jobs, other than your graduation or post graduation, questions will be raised on this. VA or PT on field, is it which ISMS face?
So Deepti, just give me 1 minute to answer that question that Vikas has asked. So
Mhm.
Vikas, that is because the course completion data has not flown into the platform. Saurabh, can you put the direct link? I think, yeah. So the direct link is there in the chat. I'm putting it once more. So if you click on that, you'll be able to access the assessment card. We will get the data at the back end. I mean, it's a batch process, so it does take time. That's the reason. Yeah, Deepti, go ahead.
Okay. So actually, I was about to link the question, I mean, the topics which we need to go in depth. So I think Manish has asked for on ISMS phase. So Manish, before I answer your question specific to vulnerability VA and PT, I'll just touch upon a background of ISMS. See, to link this ISMS, that is Information Security Management System, which is nothing but ISO 27001. So as most of you are aware, in the quality also we have ISO, that is an international standard for organization. In that, one of these certificates is for cybersecurity, which is 27001. So any beginners, earlier we used to do 27001 in order to get the jobs. It talks about how to, in any organization, small or big, or larger organization, you have to have implement cybersecurity. You have to guidelines given in this 27001. It's called ISMS, and they have given how to implement, how to train your employees. So they have various protocols, I would say various stages, how to implement, how to train your people. And final step is what? Certification. So certification is done by ISO. There is a certified bodies are there. They have a two phases. If you go through, I'll also IT governance website is there, because in one of the key topics that I came across, a lot of questions are from ISO 27001. In the chapter 4, they talked about very high level, which is a best practices. If you go through chapter 4, in that best practices, they would have given risk assessment and encryption and training, user employee training, right? So that topic, if you go in depth, you can search ISMS or ISO 27001 implementation phases. These are the keywords. If you search, hello,
We can
Ambika.
hear, we can hear. Ambika, probably you should just log out and log in. Is there anybody else who's facing an issue? Are you all able to hear?
We can hear her clearly. Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, sure.
Okay, so I was
So
talking about.
Ambika, maybe just log out and log in again.
Okay, so yeah, what to the ISMS? So it is actually for how we have certification where we have to complete various exams as an employee or cybersecurity professional. Once we get this certification, we can officially call it as a cybersecurity professional. Same way for organization also, they have to get certified by official ISO body. Then only it's not only that proof that they have implemented all cybersecurity controls, but also to prove all their clients we are cyber safe, your data is safe with us, and whatever data is not tampered with us, it is available to prove or to the clients. And also now regulators also insisting that certification. So that's the ISO 27001. If you attend this nasscom exam, you might have a couple of questions on that. So I would say just search for 27001 or ISMS. To give a gist of what is a certification is all about is, first step, they will check whatever the organization, how many assets they have. Assets in the sense, how many applications or laptops or cyber assets they have. They will take the inventory and they check what are the controls, in the sense whether they have implemented all the data related. You would have seen chapter 4 solutions, right? Firewall, anti-malware, training. So which is a bit of it covered in chapter 3. So they'll check inventory of all the things required as a first phase of audit. They will what is the scope of the audit? ISMS audit, it is similar to the normal finance audit also, if you are part of any of the finance departments. And second phase of the audit is what? They will actually test or verify whatever they have promised, or they have mentioned, they have implemented ISMS. They will check, they'll say, okay, they'll interview people in terms of employee awareness. They'll interview staff. Okay, are you aware of the cybersecurity? They might questions. So whatever they've assured that yes, we have implemented ISMS, phase 2 audit, they'll check whether they have, and based on that, they'll go for a physical examination like that. So you might have questions on, you can go through phase 1, what are the things they cover. Basically, completeness check, they will say, what is the scope of the ISMS audit. Phase 2 is they will verify whether implement or not. So the verification they will do a phase 2. So various checks, phases and the stages, what responsibility audit checks they will do. You can go through this IT governance website, because questions might come under this, which phase of audit this is covered, or which is this part of phase 2, is it covered, like that questions may come across. So second part of the main is how ISMS is implemented. So there is a various stages ISMS implementation. So question can come, okay, either they will say, they list down complete stages of ISMS and they'll ask you to sequence it, which comes first, which comes last. They might ask you like that, Or they might also mention, okay, which responsibility comes under top management, because as a part of implementation, they will create a roles and responsibility. What is the role of a top management? What is the role of information security management manager? Like that questions will come. So I would suggest to answer, to have a better knowledge on all this question, go through ISMS implementation stages, roles and responsibilities. Third is certification audit phases. And let me know if you have later also, if once you go through, because those are simple process. It doesn't have, jargons or IT terminologies. It will be very simple, self-explanatory. Because when I went through that first certification, which I did is ISO 27001, which I didn't know clue out, what IT all process of, but the steps that they've given, very self-explanatory, simple English. Any questions on that? PT, pen testing, and they will not do a pen testing here. They will check as a part of ISMS requirements whether they verify. They will verify in the part of phase 2. So whatever they have mentioned, it depends on the organization. Smaller organization, ISMS requirements are very similar, because to ISO 27001, they've given 114 standards. Standard in the sense, your password should, I think you would have checked chapter 3, there are some requirements in the password. Password should be minimum, should be 8 characters, maximum 64 character in the chapter 3. Okay, you know where we got this number? One is from a NIST, and also ISO 27000 was given as standards. NIST is a very global organization, but in a smaller organization, they can refer ISO 27001 114 standard. They can choose which standards are applicable for their organization, and they list down, these are my standard. Basically, standards are nothing but specific requirements to be implemented. They also mention, my employees background verification is done, criminal, no criminal verification, or criminal records are present, like that. There are a set of, these are called standard. So they will take those and they implement it. And during the phase 2, same way, when they give us, when they check the standard, PT, pen testing is done for all applications, internet-based phasing application, like that they'll mention. Vulnerability assessment is done. So these are the standard. They'll verify in the phase 1, they'll check, okay, this is scope. Phase 2 only they'll check whether whatever they promised, they mentioned, yes, we have implemented. They'll verify, they'll go to application record, they'll check whether PT is done. They'll take the PT records like that. So I think any other questions on that? Let me see. Yeah, Manish, did I answer your question? So this PTVA is one aspect of ISMS. I would suggest you can check all this various stages involved in the implementation phase. Before you study, there is a sequence. Before you study certification audit, please refer ISMS implementation phases. Because before you audit, you need to understand the process, right? So before you study certification audit, you might have questions on both, on implementation stage as well as on the audit phase also. So you can check the implementation phase, then the various phases. They might use a terminologies, either stages or a phases. But I would suggest, when you search the keyword ISO 27000 implementation stages, you can use. And when you search for certification audit, you can use phases. You have iso.org website also has, but there is some subscription fees is required. But I saw free websites. Basic information is itgovernance.co.uk also has complete information. So
Deepti, can you
that's,
put that link in the chat?
yeah, sure. Okay, so this is the official website of ISO, but other than that, IT governance.
Deepti, I have put one link. Do you think that link is relevant?
ISACA. ISACA is actually it's a US body. They have implemented, they have courses on various entire cybersecurity. Also, they have certification. The difference between ISACA and ISO is ISACA certifies employees, mainly in the sense individual certifications. I have done CISA and CISM from ISACA. Individual certifications are more. Wherein ISO 27, they give certified on organizations, companies. If they want to go for, they have to go for ISO 27001. And this part, the specific link is ISACA has taken I would say coordinating with the ISO to provide the training for employees and for the members of ISACA. But actual team, the body which they're going to train is ISO only. The patent and the ownership of the certification is ISO. What I've given is either, but if you need to go through any material in ISACA, you have to have a membership. Free materials are not available. But ISACA, wherein ISO, you have some extent free material is there. Because ISACA membership is $150 to, I think it's a Chennai chapter including, it comes around $170. So it is not available for everyone. And also you can't copy paste or use it for non-members. I think there are some rules in that. But wherein ISO doesn't have that, anyone can access. You don't need to subscribe unless you have to go through in-depth, then only it will ask for a money. Otherwise it's free. Wherein itgovernance.co.uk, it has a basic, because this certification is a basic CS, right? So you don't need to go through completely. For ISO 27000 certification, you have to understand completely. You have to go for a case studies. But wherein for this nasscom CS certification, you need to know basic. That's sufficient, so that you can get these materials which I've shared over that link. Maybe after you complete this nasscom CS certificate, you can go for ISO 27001, because that is also one of the basic CS certificate if you want to go for explore your career in this cybersecurity. Because that is also and of course ISACA, CS, CISA, CISM, that is also certifications, because they will filter using your certifications. So if you're going for maybe a manager, cybersecurity manager role, or a 6 to 7 years experience, then they'll filter basic. I want CISA certified people. I want only CISM certified. Like that, they have filter. Because when though I'm not part of a recruitment, but I give a requirements to the recruiters, so they go for a certification only. So for us to filter, for us to get shortlisted, we need to have these certifications. But for a beginners, I will suggest go for this nasscom certification, study this material. In addition to that, you can search these additional topics, ISO 27001 and ISO certification process or a certification audit phases. And in addition to that, I also have taken some of the questions. MFA, that is a multi-factor authentication. Let me start with the chapter 2. Chapter 1, as I suggested, it gives you a basic
Just
understanding.
1 minute, Deepti, a quick
Yeah.
check. So if you've followed so far, what she gave is one overview of what all is there and where there are maximum. I think chapter 4 is where maximum weightage is there, and then ISMS, you have to read up more about it. Right now, she's going to go through, I'm going to go through all the chapters and probably some topics.
Some topics only, because
Some
I think
topics.
last time already the trainings have been conducted on individual chapters, right? So I know it's like overlapping what has been taught.
Okay.
So I will not.
So this is
go in
the important topics. So consider her as a teacher who's talking about important topics for your test. And I also see somebody asking, Shania is asking, is there a timeline for exam? There is no timeline, but it is as soon as possible. Otherwise, you forget all the things, no? And she is giving this session today, so it's better you consider taking it in 1 or 2 days.
especially, you know, the terminologies you will forget. Even I, when I was switched to my identity access management to risk assessment, sometimes I forget the tool names which are used in identity IAM. So just either you have to get used to it, or you should have implemented it and you should have been part of the implementation phase, then it will retain you, you know, for a long time. But when we are going for a first assessment, it's better as soon as you finish your preparation, go for exam, so that, you know, it will retain. Or you should have revise every day a few topics, then only because even concepts you understand, but the solutions are something that you have to remember. Like there are various firewall types and various encryptions, and also the MFA terminal, because which I earlier was about to mention. So there you would have seen chapter 3 MFA. Now, why I'm talking about MFA is access control is something that everyone considers a very important topic. So it's I would say among the cybersecurity domains, this is the biggest topic, and a lot of job opportunities are more. So if you ask me to compare, you know, a grade which domain under cybersecurity, because if you complete cybersecurity certification, there is no dedicated cybersecurity team in a major organization. You will have a big department under cybersecurity, and you will have thousands of people. So it split across various departments. Which department you have major job opportunities, especially non-CS background, non-IT background, is IAM, Identity Access Management, because you will get a lot of opportunities. Because everyone would have come across, you would have set your ID password, you would have familiar with you know, some of the characters that you have to use. So it will be easy to correlate and study further on the topic. That's why you will see more professionals in the IAM. Then they'll explore other departments. You will also see a network security. These two are hot topics, like, you know, major professionals, or, you know, start their career in these two departments. Then they'll go for a threat assessment, PT, pen testing, because that is require a special license. If you do, because you have to do like act as a hacker if you need to do a pen testing. Normal like, you know, immediately freshers may not be eligible to do it. You have to have another license for it, for pen testing or vulnerability assessment, because you will act as a hacker. I think you would have studied chapter 5. What is a white you know, white black I mean white box testing, or a white hacker, gray hacker, black hacker, right? So it is white is something that you are a part of employee group and you know everything and you hack it or you test it. But wherein if you are a black hacker, that is a black box testing, you are not part of the organization, you don't know anything about the application, you will try to wanted to hack into that network. So in a PT pen testing, as some of you mentioned asked, I think pen test is all about testing. As a outsider, how do you test? Just to understand whether application is safe or not. So that is why PTVA may not be required for you to study now, because that requires a more in-depth knowledge. But however, for a study exam purpose, you can check vulnerability management, because this is also a bit similar to risk assessment. Keywords are, you can go through vulnerability assessment stages. That is also similar to what are the stages of vulnerability maturity model. If you're part of management, or, you know, studied a quality maturity model for various organization, maturity model CMM rating is given, right? Same way for vulnerability management is also such rating is there, though it is not in practice now, because it is maturity model is only given for the asset level and based on the scanning. This maturity model is, maybe it is used for a smaller organization, but bigger organization not in practice. But however, it will help you to understand what is a vulnerability management. Like, you know, scan all the assets and go through what are the vulnerabilities are there, open defects, vulnerabilities. I think you would have studied chapter 3, sorry, chapter 2. You know, what are the various software vulnerabilities, attacks, concepts, and techniques. So you would have gone through buffer workflow, non-validation input. So for this, these are vulnerabilities. But what I'm talking about is what is the stages of vulnerability management. First, what is the first step? Do you, any organization, when they will give a CMM rating, is they don't have any vulnerability management facilities. It's like a purely non-existent. Second stage is they do scanning using all the vulnerability scanners. They will do scanning. Same way, there is a third stage. They will do assessment. So I think there are some questions on could be on the vulnerability management life cycle. So you can go through that. Either directly you can search the keyword vulnerability management maturity model stages. Like that also you can go through, you can search for it. So wherever I'm mentioning the topics where with the keywords, please note it down so that, because I know this chapter is vast. In the study material may not give you in-depth details, but you can, once you have done thorough with the people, I saw some of you mention you're done with the study material. So I would suggest once you complete, don't stop with that. Take these topics, search in the Google, and check this in-depth details, so that it will be useful for you when you attend the assessment. It's not out of syllabus, but it is, our study material is given at a high level. So I'm just checking vulnerability management. They would also mention CVSS, that is a common vulnerability scoring system. So that is, you don't need to go through how the assessment is done, but you can see what are the parameters used. So CVS is used base, temporal vulnerability, like that. You can check, what are the basic metrics they use. So if you're a part of quality or any organization, if you're an employee, you will be assessed on some parameters, right? They'll check, okay, this year she has done this work. These are the metrics. Some HR team maintains a metric, a parameter or a measurement technique, they'll say, right? Same way for vulnerabilities also, there is some measurement techniques. You can search the word, CVSS measurement or metrics parameters, like that. So you don't need to go in depth, but just to have a basic understanding that. What are the top companies in cybersecurity? Every organization needs cybersecurity expert. Are you asking about who gives cybersecurity tool? Okay. To first question, top companies in cybersecurity. See, every organization, they have their own cybersecurity. Only certain aspect alone they will outsource. You know why? Because cybersecurity is like giving them our entire money with them. So people will not outsource easily. Money here is information. So especially banks. I'm part of one of the MNC bank. Nothing is outsourced completely, especially cybersecurity, because information is belongs to a bank or organization. they they try to keep it, they own it. If they will hire cybersecurity professionals, or they'll hire big four for audit, but they will not completely outsource cybersecurity departments. They will rather hire people from the companies, and they will have a agreement, and completely laptops, everything is belongs to the company. So only auditing, external auditing or a third party auditing they will hire, so that just to ensure whatever I have implemented in cybersecurity is correct or not, am I in the right path. So that if any regulator, like for India is RBI is a regulator. RBI checks every periodically, whether, especially banks, same way, wherever you have PIA, that employee information, uh, personal names, and that comes under privacy. But privacy also shares the cybersecurity principles. So to answer Shobha's question, I would say top companies, every companies, all top companies, Infosys, Cognizant, they are not like specialized in
She's
cybersecurity.
asking about tools, Deepti. Shobha is asking about which
Which
are the companies
companies
which
in
gives tools.
cybersecurity?
Yeah,
Uh,
which provides tools.
okay, that is Smita. Okay, so
Is it? Yeah.
cybersecurity, yeah, tools is actually each department. They have certain See, there are two type of tools are there. One is in-house developed tools are there. So, because tools they major, I would say ServiceNow. Nowadays, ServiceNow is one of the cybersecurity tools they provide for incident management. SOC, I think chapter 4 you would have studied SOC, Security Operational Center, or incident management review, right? So ServiceNow provides a various set of tools, GRC tools, that is a risk assessment and all. So, but that is also same as I earlier mentioned. Only certain dedicated tools are used by the companies, wherein majority they in-house they develop. Because the reason is for scanners and all, they'll hire take each department. I mean, each category there are set of tools procured by various department. One is in terms of scanning, you have Qualys Guard, Qualys Guard related tools, and also if you go to the logging and monitoring, I think you would have studied in the chapter 4. They have a Splunk, Zscaler for a fire, for a scan context filtering. So various tools are there. There is no dedicated company, one company which provides cybersecurity complete tools. I think recently in the LinkedIn, Infosys mentioned they have developed a cybersecurity shield, but that is also one level of defense only. Though this topic may not be relevant for the beginners, but if you go in depth, I think there is one blended attack is there. They cannot the blended attack chapter 2. It is talks about they don't use one attack, they'll use multiple attacks for a, it's called blended attack. Same way for a solution also, one solution like a firewall alone is not sufficient. You have a defense of depth, it's called. First line firewall you need it, then you need IPS, you need IDS, then you need encryption for data, then you need access control. So you have various levels of in-depth, and for each department there is a set of tools. So some of the famous tools which I mentioned, ServiceNow, all incident management and SOC, ServiceNow. Same way for log monitoring, Splunk, and for IAM, all Oracle Identity Management Manager. So there are various department famous tools are there. But I would, in my experience, which I came across, majority of the tools are in-house developed. Though there are famous tools are there, but because the reason is when you procure a tool from the external companies, like Splunk is one of the famous log monitoring tool where people, if they wanted to use the Splunk, they have to get certified. You would have seen SIAT in chapter 4. I think you would have seen I'm referring more to the chapter 4, majority of the solution. So I would suggest go through chapter 4 in depth. SIEM is a log monitoring tool, which Splunk is a major, famous tool. It used across 80% of the companies in India. I mean, that's an international tool, but that is one of the famous tool. But SIM, when a company procures it, they will remove all the default settings, because there is one more potential attack is when you procure any third-party tool, cybersecurity tool, there is a chance that tool would have been have a backdoor. Whoever third party has developed the tool and given to a company, they might have a program it such a way that they can take a remote access and they can try to steal information from the company. That's why majority larger organization, they try to develop their own tools and they'll hire expert and they'll develop. But however, there are famous tools, but not a single company you will find that produce all the tools. But major, you can check for a Zscaler tool, ServiceNow website, you can find the tools from there. And for vulnerability management, PT, Qualys Guard, you can check. And those are the, I mean, on spot I'm able to, but I can post various tools and their websites in the WhatsApp, WhatsApp group, you can refer it. So
So
recorded
Deepti, we
session.
have 10 minutes, right?
So
Where are
yes.
you with respect to the...
Yeah, I've covered majority topics, which are, which need to go through in depth. In other than that, I also would suggest when you refer the solutions like a firewall, anti-malware, and there are some more I'm just taken down from the chapter 3 of chapter 4, data destruction, data backup. Uh, you know, when you go through this, compare what is the difference, because you may not have that comparison in the material, but you compare what is the difference between firewall and anti-malware, what are the various models used in the backup, because questions might come on that, because they will give you scenario. I think Karthik mentioned scenario based questions are there, right? So in a scenario based, how do you answer? Because we don't measure, if you are not worked in a cybersecurity, you may not would have come across such scenario. In that case, how will you answer? That best technique is compare. What is a firewall? What is how different is from anti-malware? Then if they give you question, 4 options will be there, right? So either they'll give you firewall, anti-malware, or some other options will be there. So you can check, the comparison, you can rule out, okay, anti-malware is for only for malware protection. But if the answer question would be, how well you protect at the first line. So then you will check, firewall is mainly for filtering the traffic, and wherein encryption is data at the devices level, or over a transport level. So you can compare. If you have studied at the comparing all the tools, then you will be able to answer, even if you're not come across such scenario in your life or in your career. Because I saw some of the questions on the comparison, it will help us. So all the solution that you have, chapter 3, 4, compare it. What is the difference between these two solutions? Then you will have more understanding. Also, I would suggest go through firewalls, have more questions on the firewall, various type of firewalls. I think Karthik could have touched on the firewall, but however, I suggest go through firewall types. Also, there are pocket filtering, circuit based. So this is available in any website. You can search the keyword type of firewalls. Then you will get all the details. So to summarize the topics, in addition to study, which I mentioned, ISMS, ISO, I can put those topics in the WhatsApp group also. You can go through that. ISM certification audit phases, and MFA, that a multi-factor various, they might give you an example and they ask you to choose. Because in the study material only you will see, okay, first line it's a password, or second is cyber, something that any object like that. But they might give you example, from there you might ask you to choose. And the firewall types, and vulnerability management. So these are the additional topics I would suggest you to go through in depth, in addition to the study material. Yeah, I think I'm done. Also, yeah, as I mentioned, go through the individual cybersecurity solution. Also understand which vulnerability or which attack, which solution to be used. That is actually good. And even if you attend any of the interviews, your interviewer questions would be on that. Okay, have you come across this issue? Then what is the solution do you suggest? Even these questions are asked in the engineering campus interviews, it seems. So you can, if you, instead of studying isolated way, issue separate chapter and solution separate chapter, compare it. Probably use a comparison table. Probably you would have come across in the college, compare between two items. Like that, you compare effect, issue with the solution. That will help you, for your exam. I think I've covered, Smita. Anything, any of you have any question, you can post it in the WhatsApp group also. If I know, I can definitely answer. Which certification is useful for OT cybersecurity? What is OT? For cybersecurity as its operational technology. Okay, ISO 27001, it's It is actually for both operations, how our cybersecurity department should run, also the technology, various tools, how it should be implemented. That's why every organization in India, especially, they go for a cybersecurity. If they are hosting any client information, then they have to go for this certification. But technology per se, you have to go for all the VT, vulnerability scan, that is sufficient. Even if you don't have I'm talking about from organization level. But if you're in individual level, individual employee level, if you want to have a certification on the tools, you have various tools, separate tools, you have to go for a certification. Splunk certifier, one tool, one certification. For Azure, that is cyber, all cloud related, they have individual certification. PT, certified pen tester, there is a certification. I think it's a cost of, comes around 2 lakh Indian rupees. And same way for vulnerability management also there is a certification. But before you go to individual tool level, ethical hacking, what suggested many of the, if you go for a vulnerability side, but for risk assessment side, ISO 27000 is base certification for the beginners, I would suggest. I mean, provided after you complete it, your nasscom certification, because this will give you first step, a confidence level. Okay, I can become a cybersecurity professional. Then you can go for ISO. Because I'm not the official body of the ISO where I'm trying to advertise, but I'm just as a non-CS background, I'm just giving my tips, but you can go for a different approach. I mean, it's just more of a advice. Whichever certification you feel okay. There is a ethical hacking, networking side, CCNA is there, but it is a purely network side, network security. But if you want to go at cyber security level, at least for Indian level, ISO is what currently is available. Yeah. Yeah, I'm done, Smita. Any questions or anything? Yeah. Did I clarify your questions? Or because I'm not, professional training in my organization, I'm part of risk assessment. I do train my own department. They're all my employees, so they have to listen to me. No other option.
No, it was a wonderful session, Deepthi. I haven't gone through the course, but I think I can go ahead and take the assessment by reading some of these things that you're saying. It's, I mean, I found it really useful. I hope the participants also. I have opened the WhatsApp group for you to ask questions, Manish and others. So make sure you go through this, refresh the course as such, as well as the extra content that Deepthi has told. And then all the best.
Yeah, all the best, everyone. Do well. It's all MCQ only.
Thank you so much, Deepthi. Such an amazing session. Thank you. What a clarity. Thank you.
I hope so. Thank you, Sangeeta, for this opportunity. Thank you all.
Thank you, dear. Thank
Okay,
you.
so 23rd session is also similar only. So don't wait for that. Just go ahead and take the assessment. In case there are people who have missed it, we'll be sharing. We don't want to share this recording, by the way. This is very precious for all of you who found time to come in and do this. Right? So we don't want to share this recording. So it's for those people who haven't done. But do interact in the group. If you have questions, let's trouble Deepthi for a day.
Smita, we can share the recording for the people who have joined today's session.
Yeah, that we can. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
You.
Bye.
Take care.
Thank you, Deepthi.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all.
Thanks.